And thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much, Chris. I'm doing great this morning.
All right, I bet better today than you were yesterday morning. Is that a good assessment at all?
That is definitely true. Yes.
All right. Well, we want to congratulate you. Small Business of the Year last night awarded here in the Ludington area, and talking about that, the Chamber Alliance of Mason County, they held the event at the Lake House, a new venue for the Business of the Year, Small Business of the Year. You have the Future 5 that was announced and others. But today, this moment in time, this morning, is about you. And
thank you.
And congratulations. I guess the first question is, as being awarded Hungry Howie's of Ludington, the Small Business of the Year. How'd you feel last night? What was that? What was that emotion like?
Well, at the beginning of the dinner, it was a little nerve-wracking because I was in that position once before, about 13 years ago, and we all kind of know we're probably going to have something to say. You got to be prepared, and I was a little more nervous about what I might say afterwards, and it was pretty emotional. I mean, it meant so much to me, and I've been doing this for 20 years, and I'm doing it in a town that I love, and where I want to be, and I wanted to make sure I thanked many people that were with me and helped me get along and partnered with me and stuff, and I wanted to make sure I did a good job, but I pulled through. It took me a little while, but I did it. So
well, and the nice thing about it is you were surrounded by your family, which is very important to you, right?
Yes.
Take us through that environment last night. Melissa was there, your kids were there, and they're a part of this as much as you are each and every day in those conversations, not only at the restaurant, but afterwards, and how the day went. What is that environment like for your world?
Well, like in any small business, generally a lot of it has to do with family, and a lot of time, and in some instances like ours, I did have both my boys do work for me, and our older son David, he actually works in one of our other businesses in the rental property side, and in my wife, and she's a big part of making sure that I'm doing some of the right things, and we're involved with the right things.
Keeping you in check, right?
In check, exactly.
Okay.
That's a good way to say it. And she handles some of the HR stuff, the staffing and things like that. So it's a good partnership that we can do. And a lot of times too, in a small business, people know is like your family's important, even if they're not there at work with you, when they're at home and you're working on Christmas Day or you're working late because somebody called out and you miss a dinner or something like that. And they have to, they're, even though they're not working, they're still part of the business, and they have to kind of go with the good with the bad. So.
Absolutely. And over these 20 years, and by the way, for those that are watching on our Facebook page or our YouTube channels, you have the award with you. If you want to show that to the camera, you can do that. And there you go. Pretty awesome. And
it's heavy.
It is heavy, now move it a little bit this way so that it's not close and you're not going to bump it at all or anything like that. But you have been a staple of this community for so long, and when you and I have talked about this many times. When a school group or a church group or an organization needs some sort of help, they turn to Pat Patterson because you've really entrenched yourself in somebody and a team at Hungry Howie's of Ludington that will go out and beyond and help somebody or help a group. Why do you do that though? What is the I understand there's some attention side of it. Any person or any business, they're going to get some kind of light on them, which is good. But I think it's deeper when it comes to you, isn't it?
I always had the dream, like even when I grew up here, and part of my talk was that I think I was kind of a perfect candidate, for like the boomerang before I think it was a thing, and I did what a lot of 18, 19-year-olds do in a town where things have changed in our job force and things like this, and you have to go to school someplace else. I mean, West Shore does a great job now having their Promise program and everything that keeps students here local for a couple more years. But I moved away and I moved to Texas, and that's kind of where I got some of my experience. And I lived in the big city, and knowing in the back of my mind what Ludington and Scottville had to offer, I always wanted to come back, and it's a great place to raise your family. And I had an opportunity to come back. I mean, I didn't have a plan. I didn't have the Hungry Howie's job lined up. I had worked for Applebee's. Applebee's hasn't even opened up yet, and but I was always in the food industry, so I kind of gravitated to what I know what to do, and there was a job available at Hungry Howie's, and it just kind of worked out. I mean, I just applied everything I learned in a big city, and I loved being here. I wasn't thinking like, oh, I guess 2 more years and I can get out of here. You know, I wanted to dig my roots deeper, I guess to say so.
You know, I would assume many people out there don't know the story about how you went from, and you just hinted on it, going from an employee of Hungry Howie's to owning the location here in Ludington, and you have one in Alma as well, right?
That's Claire, Michigan.
Claire. Okay, Claire. How did that? What's that transition like? What was that story like?
Well, again, it kind of, I don't want to say it fell in my lap, but when the opportunity came around, I learned how to work it. The company that had owned it before me, they were a larger group, one of the biggest ones in Michigan, Hungry Howie's Properties. They manage over 50 stores. But a lot of them are based in the Detroit market where there's a lot of supervision, things like that. They were actually took a risk and they're branching out, coming up to Ludington. This is back in 2001 is when they first opened. And it's kind of more of like a satellite store. And, you know, they had a manager working it, and it, you know, one of the things you talk about a small business, I think, to really thrive is, you know, you got to have that ownership. And you mentioned I have another location in Claire, and I said I could not do the same thing I do here in Claire, but I have a partner out there, and she's, you know, bought into the company, and she's an owner, and she treats that like it's her baby, and then she's been there almost 10 years. Her name's Sarah, and she has an awesome job. But back here in Ludington, you know, I worked a deal with them, and it was awesome. I had come up with a down payment. They worked me out a land contract deal, and, you know, for 4 years, it was just, you know, blood and sweat, you know, working every day, building the business, you know, open to close sometimes when I had to work, and doing whatever it took to finally keep growing the business, and just kind of basically easy philosophy, just do the right thing.
Well, we're starting to get some comments on our Facebook page, and from John Reed, great guy, super humble. Congrats, Pat. Jason,
you, John.
Yeah, absolutely. Jason Adam, Pat's an amazing business owner and member of our community. This guy does way more for Mason County than just makes pizzas. The world needs more Pat Pattersons. How do you feel when just a couple of those comments come in like that? What does that mean to you?
Well, it means a lot. I mean, it's not like I'm out looking for that stuff, but I just, like, again, I just doing what I think I should be doing, and doing it where I want to be doing it. So, I mean, the recognition is just a bonus from all that, I guess. So,
do you, after 20 years of doing this, is there any regrets?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I only thing I kind of wish, and I think the timing was right. Sometimes you would write on my franchise agreement or my franchise survey when they would ask. I said, I wish I had this opportunity when I was 26 instead of 36, because now I've been into it for 30 years. Yeah, I may have been able to grow, but one of the things that's difficult to do in the northern market is the closest, you know, the Claire location's 85 miles east, and Cooperville's 85 miles south, and Grand Haven, you know, so you have to travel, and it's kind of difficult to have a really strong, tight network. Like, you know, in Charlotte, you can have like 10 stores. They're all within five miles or something like that. So
but you get to travel, which is kind of nice. You have been able to, and we see this if anybody's following you on your Facebook page, you get a chance to balance your personal life, and that encompass all of the concerts that you go to, and the love of music, and Melissa, your wife, and being able to have that relationship and balance things out. And as any small business owner knows out there, it is tough to be able to do that. But that's important to you.
It is. And I first have to say my wife, Melissa, is one that helps me balance that quite a bit, making sure I have time for the family and stuff like that. Sometimes a concert, when I buy a ticket 3 months in advance, you take a chance of, am I going to be able to get off that night?
Yeah.
I mean, there is actually nights that I've bought tickets for a concert, not even thinking it's the night before Gus Macker, and couldn't go to the show in Grand Rapids because I had to get up early Saturday morning to do pizzas for the Gus Macker. But it is a way I like to spend my time and be in the crowd, and I think the biggest thing is, if anyone follows my shows, I've been trying to hit all these concerts from the 80s that I saw or I wish I would have seen. And for a couple hours, it makes you feel like a teenager again.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
And afterwards, you don't feel like it when you're walking home.
Well, and that transitions our conversation as we're joined this morning with Pat Patterson, owner of Ludington Hungry Howie's Small Business of the Year recipient. Congratulations to you on that. But the transition is the team. You have. Oh, sorry about that. We got some background noise there. The team that you have locally. Talk about them, because I would assume it's not just you, right?
No, I mean, I couldn't do it all. In fact, I'm trying to step out of the I don't know, say spotlight, but I mean, that's kind of how I feel sometimes. Like Friday nights, I'd be working and. Sorry about that.
And people calling you already. They're not ordering a pizza this early.
Yeah. It's like, I'll be there in 45 minutes. I'm sorry I'm late.
No.
No, but I have a great team. I mean, it starts with my manager, Bill Shorey, he started there at 18 when he was a driver, and then probably just after a few years he was a manager, and then he's been my store manager for I think close to 10 years now. And one of the things I think that really helps is the consistency. A lot of people think we have a lot of turnover, but our core staff has been there for a long time. I mean, both my boys started when they were 15, and they kind of sometimes try a different job and come back, but they've been there solid, and they have the same pride I have in making a great pizza. And then I've had some wonderful managers. I mean, Pam Bentley, if you all know her, she is like awesome. I mean, last night I kind of called her Pam's Bentley, because on a Friday night she's like two people answering the phones, collecting the money, handing out the pizzas, taking somebody calling up like, hey, where's my pizza, or and she's handling all that. I mean, she's awesome. And she does a great job. And then I've had some great employees that I've seen start there, and then actually I mentioned it last night, Brittany Septron from Britter's Twisted Whisk, who started with me at 16 and went to school out to college, and I just saw her work her dream and her start a business from nothing. I mean, I was able to at least take a business that was turnkey, but to see somebody that starts a business from just a dream is totally incredible. And I think she's awesome. So.
Yeah, very successful there, which means that you have impacted people in the Ludington area, the greater Ludington area. So I say this, when you get to that age of retirement, or when you are ready to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to settle down, probably do more concerts, stuff like that. But what do you think people would say about you? What's that description of Pat Patterson that you would hope that they would take away from you?
Well, maybe, to give back, to share with what you have, maybe, if one of the things I kind of joke about is like, if you have a dump trailer and you have a flatbed car hauler, you're like every man's best friend, because they want to borrow it. Yeah. And I definitely, if I have something, I'll share it with somebody. So that would be it.
And sometimes as you get deeper into that business life, there tends to be a disconnect in some cases with being able to do that or help people or have the time to do it. But you've taken the time and you've taken the effort to continue that. So we commend you on it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that goes to show that the second time around, said 13 years ago, sometimes it takes a while.
Yes.
But what happens with this award now? Where will you see this placed in your home, in the business? Where does it go at this point?
Well, I think first we're going to put it in the back, so the staff can see it, because it's not only, Pat Patterson, it's Hungry Howie's, and I have 12 other employees that work there, and we couldn't do it. I can't be there every minute of the day making every pizza, and it's a shared thing, and we're already got something in the plans to share with the staff, doing a reward party, and and then I'll stick it out front probably. So I was kind of a little worried, like you said, it's like it doesn't balance if someone wants to touch it. So I'm thinking about gluing it down or something. So.
There you go. No, I think it's great. And you mentioned in your acceptance speech last night about trying to eventually pass on the store to the next generation, your son, and that's always a great goal. And he works with you. They work there off and on throughout the restaurant, and so it's family, it's coworkers, it's community. Is that your message that you go forward each day on?
Yeah, I mean, as we get older, you kind of think, like Melissa and I are kind of thinking, like, slowly taking things off of our plate, and we're not in a job where finally you retire and there's a party and then somebody takes over your job. I mean, you have to plan ahead, and I'm not a very good planner, my wife would say. So, it's like she's worried that I'll still be 65 and making pizzas. But there are older franchise owners that still go to the meetings and things like that. But you can still be hands off and still be community involved, and you can be passing that on, whether it's a long-term employee that takes over or buys in, or a child or somebody like that. So, but it is right now, it's kind of hard to let go of the reins, but the time is coming, and just kind of hoping that things fall into place.
Yeah.
So.
And again, no regrets.
No regrets.
All right. That's very cool. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Pat Patterson, Small Business of the Year, Ludington Hungry Howie's. It's a pretty big deal. I mean, from just the last year of listening to the radio station that some people are listening and congratulating you. But the Chamber Alliance of Mason County awarding Hungry Howie's the Small Business of the Year award, West Shore Bank as the Business of the Year award. You've got the Oreo Giving Tree received. Yeah, absolutely. Received the recognition last night, and the Future 5. But this moment is yours, and so cherish it.
Well,
and
thank you for having me come in.
Absolutely. If you missed any of this segment, check it out on our Facebook pages, either Hot Country Hits 99.9 or 102.7 WMOM, and of course on our YouTube channel as well. You can check that out there. It is 102.7 WMOM, Hot Country Hits 99.9. Stick around, more music on the way in just a matter of moments here on these two radio stations serving the communities right here in West Michigan.
Cluck Bucket pretzels are the best for breakfast, lunch, snack, or all three. Made from a secret home